Here in my map store in the Pawtucket Hills. Don't be distracted, this is a Mercator projection. I know I don't condone it, whatever. I inherited the map. It's not my fault. Don't judge me. I have a map store. Shut up. All right, so there's a story. Grew up in central New York. I moved to the West Coast to do GIS. I've been doing geographic information systems, making digital maps for like 12 years. And the industry kind of sucks. It was really hard. There was a lot of turnover. I was really stressed out and exhausted. And I was just starting a new job and trying to decide how emotionally invested I wanted to get in the new job. And I was on Twitter and I found an article in the Providence Journal that was circulating around like map nerd Twitter. And the article was about this guy who is the third owner of New England's oldest map store, the Map Center in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This guy has owned the map store since 1981. And for like the last 10 years, he was just like really struggling to figure out what a map store was even like supposed to be about in 2023. And so he went from trying to sell the place in 2017 to just outright like giving it away sweepstake style in 2023. And he was just like, if you want to own a map store, send me an email and like maybe I'll give you a map store. So at the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna send this guy an email. Like, here's what's going wrong with my career, why I love maps and why I want more. And here's what I think I would do with a map store in an era where people do not need maps to get around. So that was my pitch. And like I got like a form, wow, this post blew up. I got so many interested parties. I will get back to you eventually, automated message. And I'm like, yes, that is the reasonable end to this activity. Um, I wrote out this nice long email that was like all about my feelings and what I wanted out of the position. And I figured, like this was a good thing to do for its own sake, like this is like a good like career vision statement, and I'm satisfied with the outcome. And then 3 days later, I got another email, and he's like, "Just kidding. Actually, I want you to own the store. When can you come?" And I'm like, "This guy's in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I'm in Oakland, California. I'm gonna have to like fly across the country to have a look at this place." And I flew into Logan, Boston Airport, and I took the train over to Pawtucket, and I walked over, and I checked the place out, and it's this like little corner of a large old mill, and it was a hole. Oh my god, it was awful. It was like tiny, and he was doing like 90% of his business online, and it was like all world maps and road maps, and I'm like, I don't want to recreate a gas station map kiosk circa 1997. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, maps are poetry, and their stories, and their history, and their culture, and their art. Like, people have emotions and feelings about maps, and like, that's okay. That's good. That's a selling point. You should lean into that. And this guy was just like, no, I think maps are just like serious, geography, directions. Kids should know how to read maps. Um, and I went home and I was like a little disappointed. But I figured that like if this guy was, at least not in debt, if this guy was still making a tiny amount of money from this awful business, like surely I could come in and like pick some low hanging fruit. There'd be like some really basic things that I can update, like update the really awful WordPress website, that kind of thing. Like there's some simple things that I can do to make this better. Um, I should do it. And then I flew home back to Oakland, and the current map store owner was like, "Yeah, if you want it, you can have it. Like you should totally take it. Like there were other people that were interested, but I think you're the best. And when do you want to come move out?" And I totally said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm in. I'm in." And secretly thinking like, I mean, this guy called me out. Like, am I gonna actually move across the country to own a like not profitable map store in? Forgive me. I now know Pawtucket and it's quite lovely, but from Oakland, California, I was like, am I gonna move to the middle of nowhere to run this store? And I had a work from home job, so I figured like I could get away with it. I did not tell my boss that I was going to be like operating a small business at the same time that I was going to be working remotely for him. Um, and I did it. This was October 1st, 2023 is when I moved out here. So it's been a little over a year. This is like my second Christmas, but my first like real Christmas where I'm like prepared for the retail season. I've done a lot of cleaning up. I moved like a pound and a half of mouse shit. Like this place was a real disaster, a real hole. And it's still kind of gross. It still looks like a bomb went off in it. But like there are more maps, there's better inventory. The maps have color. They have stories. I have some weird stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. I'm really excited about where we are, where we're going to go, how much farther there is to go. Um, I really think that this place has the potential to be beautiful and important and lovely, and I want really desperately to make that work. It's really hard. Running a small business is challenging. I don't think anyone would suggest otherwise. Um, I have a vision, and it's really daunting to fulfill it, but I try to do one good thing a day, sometimes two. And I'm just really grateful that this is a path that I get to go on, even though it's a really hard one and it may not last forever. The former owner really didn't like the vision that I had initially, but he's really warmed up to it. He likes to come by every month or so to come by and tell me I'm doing things wrong. He really wants the best for me. He wants this place to succeed. He wants to make sure that I'm not the fourth and last owner of the Map Center. And with any luck, we're going to keep this thing going. If you are a map nerd, come visit us. It's 545 Pawtucket Ave, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6 p.m. Website's open for e-commerce. There's not a ton there. It's mostly in person. Um, Follow us on Instagram at the Map Center. And I, if you make maps, send me a DM. Let me know. I want to have more maps sold by people who are still alive and paying rent. I think maps are beautiful. They're an expression of love of place. And if you love where you're from and you make a map, I want to see it. So send it my way. Um, Thanks so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night.